Hello everyone, my name is Tim Hurst and I would like to thank you for listening in to my personal introduction. I am an American citizen living in Germany, working as a technical training manager for a global medical equipment manufacturer. Prior to starting this chapter in my career, I worked in aviation maintenance and did that for just over 25 years, with the last 10 of those years spent in technical training instruction for licensed aircraft maintenance technicians pursuing additional and initial type rating on their licenses. Most of this involved creating the learning content and course management materials, and also conducting theoretical and practical training on various aircraft types. Since I had no formal training in this area, not in a formal training course, not in instructional system design, pretty much almost everything I did left much to be desired in terms of quality. It was acceptable. The courses were licensed, but I knew I could do better. I just didn't know how. In 2016, I began working with a large aircraft manufacturer, creating training content for students entering the aircraft maintenance career field. It was at this point where I began privately taking part in training courses, which allowed me to learn how to do what I had already been doing for such a long time, only I was learning to do it better. The current COVID-19 crisis began driving many aviation professionals out of their jobs and ultimately out of their careers. I was one of those who left aviation, but fortunately I had an opportunity to do it on my terms and without any unemployment stress. When I realized what was going to be inevitable, I had to begin a new job search. I was able to take my technical engineering skills, including electrical and electronic systems, along with my skills, experience, and qualifications which I had gained while working in the technical instruction field of aviation, into a new career as a technical training manager for a medical equipment manufacturing company. I am learning the medical equipment business and engineering know-how, and I'm sure I'll be doing that for a very long time. But I'm able to put my focus into technical training programs. The commonalities are very similar to aviation technical instruction design, and the ability to think in a technical engineering language seems to be mostly universal. The spoken working language allows me to use my German language skills even more than I was able to in aviation. As many people may already know, the international language of aviation is English. So I had very little opportunity to use my German language skills there. During my time in aviation technical instruction, I was able to learn a lot of things and make a lot of observations. One of the things I learned was that many of today's adult learners have a very large span of and variety of learning styles, regardless of their nationality. Older adult learners still have a tendency to learn best using printed materials, using pen and paper for note-taking. Younger adult learners mostly have grown up with video games and electronic devices. They lean towards a better learning curve when modern technologies are employed as part of the learning process. And this divide shows itself quite readily when looking at systems knowledge and technical related professions. The instant information available in many engineering applications have lessened the need for technicians and engineers to think on their own, which results in higher downtimes and repeat failure rates for aircraft and aircraft systems. A troubleshooting or a fault manual, which is available to everybody, these will only lead you to resolve issues for which faults are known to have existed before or predicted to exist. What many people are lacking in today's workforce is the ability to know and understand entire complex engineered machine, such as a modern jetliner, or perhaps a digitally controlled, computer-operated production system on a factory floor. They cannot think on their own. Many of them cannot think on their own. They will not be able to truly understand what lies before them without some type of change in their learning process. The lack of knowledge is often blamed on a public education system which is lacking the ability to teach students some true skills and the capacity to think on their own and to think outside the box. Some countries have systems in which students are taught these basic skills or have them enforced as they enter the workforce. This lack of understanding of complex integrated engineering systems, such as we find on the modern jetliners or on the factory floor, all kind of summed up in my personal learning philosophy, which is probably best described as taking a starting point of personal responsibility. Choosing a career path and committing yourself to the goals required to attain your degree and/or qualifications is very important, and only you can make that choice. Challenges are going to be there, and they are sure to test your resolve, and the most difficult challenges will come from within. Never stop learning. Always learn something new. Your sources of learning will be formal classroom, formal training, your colleagues, even colleagues who are younger than you will always be able to teach you something new. Be open-minded about where your learning source comes from. Your degree or professional license is only a start to your career path and not the end of the learning process. As technologies advance and new inventions are discovered, it is up to you to continually learn and keep up with the rapidly advancing world. Sometimes you might have to throw out everything you think you know, along with many years of experience, and choose a new path, such as what I have recently done. I've made a switch from an aviation maintenance career to a medical equipment career. Two totally different industries, but what I've discovered is that while they may seem to be worlds apart, if you understand the technical engineering part of aviation, you will see that it's very similar to the thought process and the logic that needs to be applied in medical equipment engineering. Yes, an aircraft is not a ventilator machine. It is not a heart massage machine. But the ability to think in a technical engineering mindset will help to understand and help learn these new type of thinking. So for me, the continual learning processes allowed me to make that jump with relatively little difficulties. And the instructional systems courses we're taking now is going to allow me to reinforce everything I've learned. It's going to help me reinforce what I'm learning now and what I'll be learning in the future, and be able to apply this to advance my career even more. So, it was a short intro. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to being in the course with you all the way to the end. Have a nice day.